people aren't being heard.
That's a thing. And I think people are not listening to understand. They're listening to react. We can have a conversation. We could have totally different views, but we're talking about it, and we're not getting, I'm not saying like, if you don't like something, like, I'm going to get you. You know what I mean? Like, there's like, as you just said, it's very much like, I'm going to get heated and I'm right and you're wrong. It's like, no, we're both speaking our truth. We're both giving our perspective of what we believe. And that's that, right? I'm not going to go home and sleep at night and be like, oh, Lily, this and Lily. No, but a lot of people do. So our mental health is really, really, really crumbling. So we just can't have conversations anymore where we listen, respect each other's opinion, and move forward.
Can I tell you something that happened yesterday?
Yeah.
I was at the park with my daughter, and there was a few moms kind of just like sitting by. They were kind of having their conversations. And I've recently felt very alone, very secluded. I am with my daughter all the time, and I work by myself, and it's on a kids show. So I'm just hearing nursery rhymes 34/7. Like,
yeah.
And so I was like, feeling a little eager kind of maybe to make friends. And I know I'm probably wrong, so I'll say that. But immediately my thoughts went, those moms are going to judge me. They're not going to like me. They're going to say stuff about me. I shouldn't even walk up to them. I got so nervous.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, like, I felt nervous. I feel like this is how toddlers feel going to a new playground, going to the dentist, going somewhere new. They're just like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, right? The unknown is so scary. I'm a grown woman. I think I'm 32, 31.
Right, I know. Once you become 30s, it's just like, I'm 30.
Right. And so then I'm like, I should be able to go up to another, not just another woman, another mom, right? We have so much we can talk about. We have so much in common.
Right.
We can discuss so many things. Our kids are right here. And I felt petrified.
Yeah.
I did it like a smile. I was like, like a... And then I turned away, and I did think about it. I laid my head down finally last night, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I had to admit it to myself. I was like, I got scared.
Yeah. Yeah. I think anxiety is at its all-time high right now. And, you notice this in everyday life, be it like with your friends, your relationship, your parenting style. It's like, we're all so worried, and we all assume, but we will never know until we actually confront something. So in that situation, right, it's like, we're adults. We think all these things, but it's like, as you just said, it's like, it probably would have been fine. And if it wasn't, you would have never known, because they're not going to say to your face, like, you shouldn't be here and talking to, you know what I mean? Right. So I think that I'm in the season, I'm in my late 30s, that like, life's too short to not ask tough questions. Life's too short to not have uncomfortable conversations. Life's too short not to like say hello to a stranger in the streets, because what is life if we're not connecting? We as humans need to connect. We need those relationships to thrive, right? So it's just like, it breaks my heart that, you're looking for connection, but there's something holding you back from getting that. And it's all in our head, right? So I think the pandemic, even heightened that even more.
It really did, because it's like, I essentially have this like, I almost don't know how to talk to adults.
Right.
I don't know if there's going to be, if I'm going to say the wrong thing that's going to escalate something, right? Because it's just, you, and I think it's because of the stuff I've seen online where I'll post something and people are like, how dare you say that? I posted one about like, hey, it's okay to have a messy home, and I used clips of like really messy situations, but we clean my home all the, but I was like, I get this anxiety where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to clean right away. You see these beautiful homes on social media, you're like, oh my gosh, like that looks anxiety free. Like, I just want to declutter like that. And I get really bad anxiety. I'm rushing around, rage cleaning essentially, and
right.
I don't want my daughter seeing that. It's an unhealthy habit essentially. And so I kind of posted that, but people are after me for, somebody said, I'm going to call the child services on you. That is disgusting. How can you live like that? You're a terrible mom. And you're just like,
and that's the thing. And you internalize that. Like, that's the toxic side of social media. That's the side where it's like, it's just really messing with all of our brains. It's not fair that we have to have this, you know what I mean? Like, perfect example, like back when I was in high school, for example, there was, you know, cameras where you have to go get the film developed.
Right.
That's that. I could not even imagine cell phones in my time. You know what I mean? Like you go home after school and like, say you had an encounter with a bully. Luckily, you go home after school, you're safe. There's nothing going on, right? Say you're at school, you trip and fall. Now it's on the internet and you have to replay that in your brain. Whereas if you fall at school back in my day, Rosie, it's over with. The next day, maybe people will be talking about it, but it's going to go away.
People saw it, right? Versus the 10,000 or internationally saw it.
Or millions right now with TikTok, right? So it's really, our brains are just not set up for all of this information, all of this judgment. So we're all kind of like short circuiting a little bit.
I agree.
And then we're all being medicated because of it, right?
Right. And you know, there is this whole thing, even with Instagram, the name Insta, you want that instant gratification, you want the right now, the right away. And I think through my own personal childhood, like trauma and all of that, I have a hard time believing in myself and thinking I can do things. I think very negatively, and I think I fail all the time. And so when something doesn't go right away, it's almost like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure and all of this. Like, no, we just took the first step, right? It all takes time. Everything literally takes a whole lot of time, but we're so, the being glued on, which I'm a victim of, right? It really does change you, and I think it's all right. Social channels, we were supposed to be social on it, but it really is dividing people in all aspects. Unless you sit there and you can somehow block the negative things, your feeds will somehow get, you know, you're gonna see stuff.
That's the thing. And it's just that's the thing. We're all like I don't know if it's the internet or what, but we're all being divided when really we need to be united. And I don't know how we get back to that. So that's kind of scary because things are just getting more intense and more intense as technology grows.
So intense.
So yeah.
That's the thing when I even see those, even like the protests and stuff on either side, you can see how angry people are, right? And again, it's like, we feel unheard. We
That's
feel
the thing.
Like the other side's not listening, or if we're talking to the government's not listening.
Right.
And I think it's important to see that and how we can help our kids now, right? To make sure they feel seen, they feel heard. So then they can have these conversations. God, that's, I think, even an older generation, I don't know if I can help them sit down and have a conversation. Right, they're kind of really set in their ways, and so I don't know if we can help our parents and stuff understand tantrums and how to deal with them, but I think if we help our kids have the understanding and be able to have communication, I think we can get out of this, because I think you're right now we're in this, it's like pressured, right? It feels like walls are coming in, time's running out, things are getting really expensive. Just to live is really expensive right now. To eat is expensive. It's
insane. And that's why I'm saying, you know, like there's so much going on and everybody has so much in that invisible backpack that they're carrying, that life's too short to worry about what someone else is doing. It's like, why don't you use that for good? Why don't you use that energy of you judging someone else, like to go and help at a food bank, to go and, you know, help somebody. Like I just will never understand. I don't know, maybe that's just my little empathetic heart, but I just don't understand how people can be so cruel to each other. And I know that this whole, like, you know, you're behind a screen and avatar, but like, who hurt you? You know what I mean? Like, what happened to you?
Right. And, you know, because sometimes I'll try to like see it from that, you know, and it's like, maybe their mom didn't listen to them or respect them or yelled at them for their room to be dirty. And so if they see a dirty room, they feel disrespected because they hear that yelling, and they almost connect a dirty room to being punished, whatever that might be. But there, like you said, there is so much that we don't know. But man, it's stuff out there. But I think you're right on about the community building, and it is something about the longer conversation or the in-person conversation, because I think I would bet that 80% of those negative comments and all those things, if it was a conversation, not a yelling match, whatever, if it was a conversation in person, those comments wouldn't be said.
Right. So that's the
There's
thing.
still assholes out there who are going to say whatever they want to say, and that is okay, because again,
Do
you have
you?
your opinion. Yeah, right.
That's your journey.
But I really think a majority of all that really, and people get mean with it. They'll be like, right, like,
Yeah.
"Ugh."
No,
And
it's
it's
bad.
like, oh my gosh, like,
And if you don't have a strong like if your mental health is not strong, that is where,
right,
it's
right.
just too much.
Right. And it's hard because I think with the decline of the conversation and the in-person community kind of sense, the that confidence is also, and like you said, our mental health. I think our mental health is something that should be talked about a lot more when it comes to
Absolutely.
kids, adults.
Yep. Burnout,
Right.
right? Like there's not enough hours in the day, especially as a parent.
Right.
And we're overworking ourselves. Like I was on a mental health leave for